Yo, what's going on guys, Arekkz here, welcome back to another Destiny video. It's now the 4th week since Age of Triumph has gone live, which also means it is time for the 4th and final raid in the weekly rotation. This week, Wrath of the Machine is the weekly featured raid, which means all challenge modes are active, Vosik and Aksis, so it's of course a chance to grab some adept weapons. However, much like King's Fall last week, there is nothing new this time round. Yes, it's 390, but the challenge modes play out exactly the same, the rest of the raid plays out exactly the same. So the only difference, of course, being the adept weapon drops. So with that in mind, in this video, what I'm going to do is what I did last week, where I will just give you guys a super quick summary of the entire raid, the kind of things you need to do in order to complete the challenge modes as a very quick refresher. Maybe some of you guys haven't done the raid since it went live, I don't know, a while back. So this will be your quick refresher, but if you do want detailed guides on any of the challenge modes, I will link my in-depth videos in the description box down below. And also, to round it out, I'll show you the loot that I got at the very end of the video. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below if you have any questions, but let's get started. So first up, starting outside the raid, very simple, same as always, split your team into 3 teams of 2. 2 go left, 2 go mid, and 2 go right. And you then want to divide roles between each. One of you will go around collecting voltage until you get 4 stacks, and you will then dunk it at the voltage containers. Meanwhile, the other person will stop the ads from getting to those containers, and of course stopping them from draining stuff in the process. Once you've filled it up enough, they will then start dropping bombs. You can grab them, throw them at Vosik to drop his shield, and once his shield is down, you then lay into him with whatever weapons you have. Good recommendations for this would of course be things like Sleeper Simulant, a decent sniper rifle. If you're worried about aiming or missing, then you could go in with Yellowhorn, because he does have a tendency to sort of jump around a little bit. So anything like that, very useful. Drop his health down, complete this rotation until he gets down to very low health, and he will then run away. Simple as, you then enter the raid, run through, go across the jumping platforms, and get to your very first encounter, that is Vosik. So, challenge mode for this, as a reminder, is that you need to use all 4 safe rooms during the fight, and you need to use bombs to detonate the switches on the walls. So typically, the way this fight will play out will be, once again, you split into 3 teams of 2, 2 left, 2 mid, 2 right. You begin dealing with the ads until bombs drop down from the sky. Now remember, there are 6 this time around because it's not normal mode, it's hard mode. So of course everyone needs to grab a bomb. You then want to count down ideally, so you all throw them in unison. Throw your bombs at Vosik to drop his shield down a little bit. And then following that, you deal with some more ads. And watch out for one of the 3 big screens that will light up behind him. Make sure you shoot that to destroy it. Once you've done that, you repeat the same cycle. Ads will come down, bombs will drop down, throw the bombs, drop his shield. Complete this until you fully down his shield. If you don't miss with any of the bombs, that will be 3 rotations. However, if you do, and sometimes it's advantageous to miss 1, so that way on the 4th rotation, some of the bombs can also deal damage to Vosik. But either way, down his shield, meet up in the middle, drop your bubbles, use your tethers, and deal damage to Vosik. During the damage dealing phase, 2 bombs will drop. Remember to grab them at the very end when he begins his move and the Seaver Density critical prompt comes up on the left hand side. At that point, 2 people will grab the bombs, 1 will go left, 1 will go right, and you'll then jump into these safe rooms. For the rest of the team, it doesn't matter where you go, as long as you stay in one of the rooms. So you could have 5 people go left, 1 go right, or you could do 3 and 3. It honestly doesn't matter, as long as you split apart and then use those bombs to detonate the switches in the room. Now remember, you need to use all 4 safe rooms, so you have to do Vosik in 3 phases. So if you've done half damage on the first phase, do not accidentally kill him on the second phase, otherwise you will fail the challenge. So again, repeat the process, dealing with Shanks this time if you've dropped him below half health. And of course, once you've used the 3rd and 4th safe room, you're then free to kill him on the next rotation. So complete that, that'll be your challenge finished, and you will then get an adept version of one of the Wrath of the Machine primaries. Moving on from there, going through the next jump puzzle, going down to, of course, the Zamboni, as we like to call it. This one, of course, doesn't have a challenge mode, so complete this however you see fit. Just carry the parts all the way down to the end, of course, dealing with the spider tank as you go down. Place them inside, and that will, of course, complete the fight. This one is really, really simple. Again, I do have a complete guide in it if you guys have not done it before, but since there is no challenge associated with it, I'm not going to waste any time on this. Finally, moving over to the final boss, of course, Aksis. Phase 1, there is no associated challenge modes, so this one you just want to complete and work your way through. You start by dealing with the ads, and of course, don't forget, because this is hard mode, there will be turrets on the left, mid, and right, so again, you need to shoot those and deal with them regularly. But then 3 captains will then come out. You destroy the captains, grab their corresponding cannons. There will be one for Arc, Solar, and Void. Servitors will then come out the doors. You then call out their locations. The people with the corresponding element cannon will then destroy those. They will drop the bombs. You pick them up and you throw them at the corresponding panels that will appear around the room. Phase 1, there are 2, one on the left, one on the right. Phase 2, there are 3. And for the final phase, there are the 3 in the middle, plus a couple on either side at the back as well. So watch out for all of those. deal with them, throwing bombs at them each time, and then you'll easily complete that phase. Now, for Aksis, of course, here's the second and final challenge. So the challenge mode for Aksis is that you need to use the supercharged plates during the damage phase. Basically, once you have dealt with the servitors, thrown the bombs, and Aksis begins to teleport, before you use the supercharged power to dunk Aksis on the back, one of the other two plates where he is not standing will have a beacon on it. This will then consume your empowered state and you will then give everyone a super back, but this is something that needs to be done before Aksis is dunked, and it also needs to be done on every damage rotation. If you miss any of these, then you will not complete the challenge. So the fight again plays out something like this. You start the fight, you of course deal with the ads until the captains come out. You then get the cannons from the captain and deal with the servitors as they come out. You can then throw the bombs at Aksis, and then once you get to the point where you need one more bomb to down his shield, you will then want to coordinate with your team, make sure people are close enough to the plates, and you then throw the bomb down his shield. He will then teleport to one location, and of course, provided your empowered players are spread across the map in the right place, you have one left, one mid, and one right, you will then find that just before one of them jumps up to dunk Aksis on the back, the other one should be able to turn around and see their plate, and then supercharge on that before the dunk is complete. You deal the damage, he teleports again, you repeat the process, you do it 3 times, dealing as much damage as you can during the 3rd phase, and if you've done enough, then you might be able to do this in 2 phases. Interesting bit of information, the Warpath rocket launcher, the one that comes from FWC, that everyone was talking about that was available last week, thanks to the vendor roll, it has cluster on it. If you pick that up, it's actually very, very good. I appreciate the typical strategy for this is to use Dark Drinker and Bubbles. However, in this situation, I was actually using the rocket launcher, and it does do quite a lot of damage, so if you did pick it up, it's definitely one of those weapons that is easily on par with Dark Drinker. If you do actually play with the numbers, technically speaking, it's supposed to do a little bit more damage, but that's of course based on ideal situations, so for argument's sake, it's pretty much the same. So Dark Drinker, Warpath, either one's a good weapon to use. You can also use Sleeper, but I think given the clusters, the rocket launcher is actually a very nice thing to use. Either way, complete that, defeat Aksis, get your loot, and that is of course your second set of exotics. So that is pretty much it. That is a very quick overview of the raid itself. Now remember, if you do need a more detailed explanation on the encounters and how they play out in challenge mode, I've linked all the relevant videos down below. This was simply just a quick refresher, so for those of you guys that have done the raid before, this will basically give you a reminder. You watch it and you'll be like, oh yeah, I remember, that's exactly what I need to do. However, if you do need more depth, then the videos are there. So all that's left now is to take a very quick look at my loot. First up, I actually managed to get the raid-specific shader that dropped. This one is called Worldfire. I actually really like this. I'm not going to wear it too much because it doesn't necessarily match my sort of blue and white look that I typically have in my Vex gear that looks something like this. However, I do like how bright it is. So this is, of course, the one that comes from Wrath of the Machine. There are shaders for each of the raids now that they're back. I haven't got any of the other ones just yet, unfortunately, but this one does look pretty bright, pretty crazy. If I throw on a different cloak like the one you get from the raid itself, you can, of course, see it does look quite bright. So that is the shader that I got. However, turning my attention to the weapons, I got 2 weapons this time around. I got Fever and Remedy, which is the hand cannon, and this one dropped for me from Vosik. So this is the Adept version, exotic. It deals solar damage, and of course you also have the perks Whirlwind's Curse, so the weapon does bonus damage against Fallen, and you get bonus agility when this weapon is equipped. I also have Smart Drift Control, Accurized Ballistics, and Field Choke. Reactive Reload, where reloading this weapon after a kill grants a damage bonus for a short time, plus Hammer Forged, Speed Reload, Reinforced Barrel, and finally Quick Reaction, so I gain increased agility while Reactive Reload perk is active. So that is the weapon I got from Vosik. And as for the other one, I got Chaos Dogma, which I'm actually super happy about. This is one of my favourite weapons. I use this quite a lot, just the sort of standard legendary version, so getting an exotic one is quite nice. I'm not sure if I'll use it over my Vision of Confluence, my kind of all-time favourite weapon, but this deals arc damage, again, Whirlwind's Curse, plus you have Linear Compensator, Accurized Ballistics, and Field Choke. You have Triple Tap, so rapidly landing precision hits will return 1 round to the magazine. Have Extended Mag, Speed Reload, Small Bore, and I also have Triple Down, where when Triple Tap perk is triggered, an extra bullet is transferred from your reserves to the magazine. So, that is actually pretty much it. I did get another legendary sniper drop, but of course I have that and that's not actually new, so there's nothing worth talking about over there. I did also get a couple of heavies, but again, nothing really new there. They're just 400 versions of existing weapons. I also did get, finally, an artifact, so I'm officially 400 light now, as opposed to 399 as I've been for many, many weeks, so that was actually pretty nice. I infused it into my Memory of Scory, so that is set right there. And on the armor front, the only thing I actually got were cloaks. I didn't actually get any sort of chest pieces, helmets, anything like that, which is interesting because the past 2 raids have been a little bit stingy on the armor front. The previous 2 ones, Crota's End and Vault of Glass, I got loads of gear, but King's Fall and Wrath of the Machine, Gear has barely been dropping, so I'm not sure whether there's an issue there or whether it's just I'm super unlucky. But given that I've already got a kind of look for my hunter that I'm happy with, I don't really mind too much. Either way, that's it. That is the complete set of loot I got from one run. Of course, I'm going to go through and do a couple more later on to get some additional things, but for the time being, that is what I got for my first run. So, again, hopefully you found this helpful. If you do need complete guides, check the links down below. But take it easy. Catch you next time. Peace out.